The cataclysmic destruction wrought by Hurricane Katrina tore gaping holes in the urban and social fabric of one of America's most historic cities. As levees failed and water poured into New Orleans, entire neighborhoods were decimated, uprooting thousands of residents and forcing them into a state of transience. The hardest hit were undoubtedly the urban poor, many of whom lacked the resources to escape the destruction.
Did the poor get hurt the worst by the hurricane? Because they always get hurt the worst. I mean, they live on the edge of a razor every day.
We're not able to get up and just go. We don't have transportation. I mean, we live in paycheck to paycheck. I mean, it ain't like we could just able to get up and just leave.
The high concentration of African Americans in the hardest hit areas of New Orleans, coupled with widespread media coverage of looting and violence, resulted in strong racial undertones.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
But the most transformative effects of the disaster were just beginning. In December 2007, the New Orleans City Council voted to approve the demolition of the city's 4 largest public housing developments. The decision was welcomed by some former residents who hoped to escape the crime and poverty of public housing. But for others, it was tantamount to an eviction. About 3,000 residents who lived in the housing projects were forced to find someplace else to go. HUD continued to give those residents housing vouchers to use elsewhere while they rebuild in New Orleans, but many of the thousands of residents who had been living in temporary housing just wanted to go back to their homes. The resulting shortage in affordable housing options, coupled with the huge swaths of neighborhoods that were still uninhabitable due to the physical damage of Katrina, sent housing prices through the roof.
Rent is extremely high. For a 2-bedroom, it's $11.80. You know, for somebody who's just getting back in the city with a job, they could never put a deposit on that.
At the same time, a wave of gentrification hit New Orleans that continues today, further driving up housing prices in what were formerly low-income and majority African-American neighborhoods.
We not welcome. They're trying to make it more for tourists, trying to make it like Las Vegas, where all the rich people stay within the city limits and all the poor people, poverty-stricken people live on the outskirts of New Orleans.
On October 21st of 2013, redevelopment began at Iberville, the 5th and final public housing development to be razed after Katrina. This time, however, all relocated families will continue to receive supportive services such as job training, youth programs, and health services. When completed, the project will contain 304 public housing units, 261 workforce units, and 351 market-rate homes, reflecting one of the largest demographic shifts in urban history.